New Thought Media Network proudly presents a weekly exploration of various spiritual practices with renowned spiritual authors, coaches, teachers, and Dr. Tracy Brown, RScP.
And now, here's Tracy.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, it's noon Mountain Time. So it must be time for a poetry, prayer, and practice, where every week we get together and just look at all the different ways that we can bring spiritual practice into our lives. And I do focus a lot on poetry and on prayer. And today I'm really happy because I get to hang out with a couple of people I know and love, who many of you know and love as well. A few weeks ago, you may have been watching the show when we were talking about poetry specifically, and I was using different poems and how they inspire spiritual practice or how they capture spiritual principle. And one of the comments that came up was about, yeah, that's like that poem would be a beautiful song. And that had me thinking about how much we use music and songs to also guide us into spiritual practice or help us practice, learn, understand, and commit to spiritual principle. So this idea of talking to songwriters came up. And are their songs poetry, or are writing the songs or singing songs? Does it feel like spiritual practice, or is it, no, I'm just performing? I mean, it's a song, I'm singing it. So who better to ask those kinds of questions to than to singer-songwriters who are well known and highly respected in the New Thought movement. So today I'm getting an opportunity to visit with Robin Hackett and LYNN FLOYD. That means you also have the opportunity to visit with Robin Hackett and LYNN FLOYD. Please, if you are watching live, don't hesitate to say hello in the chat, and know throughout this conversation, if you have a specific question that you want to ask, then you can put it in the chat and I'll bring that forward as well. So, Robin Hackett. Robin Hackett is an amazing and an award-winning singer and songwriter, and everybody I know who loves Robin Hackett music has a different favorite Robin Hackett song. But for me, it's a tie between, oh no, it's three. Oh no, wait, okay, I can't pick between my babies or between her babies, because one came to mind and then this one came to mind, and then, oh, I was in that video, that's got to be on the list, and it, right? So Robin Hackett, where are you based? Tell us a little bit about what's important to you, and then we'll add LYNN FLOYD in.
What's important to me? Well, I'll tell you first, I am based in New York City. I just moved here in July of 2022 on a God tuition, God whisper. And I am here in New York. I don't want to say pursuing, singing and acting and so forth. I'm attracting singing and acting and performing. And I'm probably the happiest I've been in my life. Yes, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. And I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I do know that Robin and LYNN FLOYD know each other and have written some fabulous music together. So maybe it wasn't the smartest thing for me to have them on the same show, but right. And then again, maybe it was the best thing to have them on the show together. So Gary Lynn Floyd is also an award-winning and an amazing singer-songwriter known throughout the New Thought movement. His songs move people and help them align their desire to live fully. And Robin, if you're not muted, would you mute? Because I got a little bit of feedback. I'm going to bring Gary in here. Gary Lynn Floyd in the house.
Hey, Tracy. Hey, Robin. I think it's a perfect thing that you had us on together because we all have a history of having met and fallen in love with one another at Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas. And so it's, you always are close in my heart, even though we're, coast to coast and not in the same city anymore. But, I have such great memories of that time that we had together.
So who are you now? Where do you live now? And kind of what's important to you right now?
I'm currently based in Reno, Nevada. And I've been the artist in residence at Center for Spiritual Living in Reno for the past few years. And just loving it here. We're near the Sierras, and I hadn't really been here a lot until Danny and I moved up to Lake Tahoe to a little condo up there in 2017. And so I'm still I've been out on the West Coast for a long time, and just now I'm in the northern part. So I'm just kind of beginning to get my feet wet and get back out on the road again, as we kind of move into a new dimension of music and how it all fits together.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time after several years of being homebound with the pandemic. In 2023, this getting back out in the world and traveling more, a lot of us are having that experience. And I do like that. Yeah, we've got in this conversation someone who's hanging out on the East Coast, someone who's hanging out on the West, or almost West Coast. Reno is almost West Coast.
Yeah, close enough.
Right, and Texas kind of in the middle of the country. Gary, you mentioned that all three of us met, or at least got to know each other at different times at CSL Dallas, that Dallas connection. But we are all over the place now. So, yeah. One of the things at CSL Dallas, though, since that is a place for us to start, I think that's one of the places that I have observed in all the places I've visited, a really intentional marriage of music and ministry. Mm-hmm. And both of you have been involved in that at CSL Dallas and in dozens of other centers and churches. And even before coming to CSL Dallas, if we look back to, was it 12 years old, Gary, when you were?
Yeah, 14, 12, 40 years, at least, 45 years, I grew up singing in church, though. So spirit and prayer and music have always been fused for me from the very beginning. And so it's natural for me to just kind of draw on all of that and be attracted to the songs that kind of feed my spirit and writing songs that feed the spirit. And it's kind of part of my DNA, I think.
Yeah. So what do you think about marriage or the marriage between music and ministry, and how does that affect the approach to your music?
It's interesting because I've done a lot of music in my life. I started singing in church, and then I was singing in piano bars where I knew Michael Gott from the piano bars, and he's the one that invited me to come and fill in for him one time at CSL Dallas. So it's always been, it's always just been connected with ministry, whether I was in a church or in a piano bar, because I realized when I was singing songs that really weren't necessarily meant to be spiritual, just the place that I come from and the approach that I take, I noticed that people were, being moved even in those settings as well. So I think it's kind of universal that spirit would be part of it, regardless if we're doing a musical or if we're playing at a club or we're playing in a church.
Yeah. What about you, Robin?
For me, kind of the same. I started out singing in church, and was living in Germany because I'm a military brat. And at the military base, at the chapel, they had a group that was 100 teens. We were like Up With People, but it was a teen version of it. And we did patriotic and Christian songs, and we traveled all through Europe singing everywhere. And that's where I got my start. I would say I had my first spiritual experience, singing with that group. The Holy Spirit came over me, and I had no idea what that was at the time, and it scared me. But when I look back, I go, oh, wow, that was spirit coming in, just swooping in my voice and taking it off somewhere that would never imagine it could go. So yeah, so I have that same experience as well. And when I was older and I moved to New York, I did write songs that were spiritual, but I didn't know they were spiritual. So.
Oh, no, you can't stop there. Like, what does that mean?
I wrote a song called Certain People, which, I sing in churches now. And I didn't realize at the time when I wrote it that it was a spiritual song. It was uplifting. It was positive. It was about being intentional in your life, even though at the time I had no idea. I did not know of Science of Mind or any of that. So that song just came out of me. It just happened out of me. So
when you're writing, both of you, when you're writing, well, just talk a little bit about your process if you have one. Like, what's typical? Like, does it just come? Do you discipline yourself to time? Well, I mean, what do you do when you're writing?
Do you want to go, Robin? You go ahead, and then I'll yeah.
Okay. I don't have a process. I'm not a person that shows up every day and says, okay, I'm going to write a song. For me, my music is heartfelt. It's organic. And so it comes out of something that happened to me in my life. And then I'm propelled to write a song about it. Like, the thing could happen right in one moment. And then in the next moment, I'm writing the song about that thing. And I'd say that happened with my song, Thankful I Am. Then I have another song that's called Be Still and Know. Those they came out of, I had an experience, and then I'm like, boom, I'm writing. So that's how it is for me. And sometimes the words come first. Sometimes the chords come first in the melody. So
I'm similar in that I don't think I have a certain strategy or anything, but I do try to make time to show up at the piano, at the keyboard, and just be open to what might come. But yeah, sometimes the melody, most of the time for me, a melody or a musical movement will come first, and then a lyric will come. And then probably, I don't know, a quarter of the time, then I'll come up I usually come up with a line or something, or, something that I hear that says, just kind of moves me, and then try to develop it. And I write a lot on Zoom with other people as well. That's always that's one of the gifts of COVID, is that it allowed us to not have to be in the same room with another person to be able to create.
Well, I was just, for me, but what both of you said just went right to, but both of you have co-written with not thousands of people, right? You both have not only written with each other, but they're people who you've written multiple songs with, or recorded with over and over, because there's this connection. So what happens then? And maybe, I don't know, you can tell me, no, we're not going to answer that question. We're going to answer something else. But, I'm thinking of, a song that you've written, that the two of you have written together. And it's like, well, how did that happen? Like, who started and who added, or were you just hanging out? Tell me the story.
Oh my gosh.
Can I tell? I'd love to tell you. You can tell your version of this story. But Robin and I, we would meet up at CSL Dallas and go to the piano in the sanctuary and just kind of make that time to be together. And there was one afternoon, and Robin, I can't remember what class it was, if it was foundations or their assignment, I think, was to reimagine the Lord's Prayer. And so we sat down at the piano, and it was one of those moments where the music just kind of flowed out. Everything just kind of flowed. In the moment, it felt like it was kind of just ease and grace as we kind of created this moment with each other. And we got to the end of the song, and I think I remember we both just wept. We both started crying because it was probably one of the most profound moments of writing a song that I've had, because we just happened to be in that place where Spirit decided to download, and we kind of got it right there. Not that it couldn't have downloaded it with somebody else, but we were willing and open that day and made the time to get together and create. And it's such a beautiful song, and I'm so happy that so many centers have embraced it and are singing it. And it's just it's a lovely thing to see how a song can move people, and then how they can kind of embody it for themselves. Is that kind of how you remember it, Robin?
We wrote that June 29th, 2012.
Oh, wow.
And I have it on here. I don't know. We probably can't hear it, but. Can you hear it? And I don't know how it's going to end up. I don't know what version this is. I'm going to cry now. We're crying now. We're crying now.
That's it.
Wow.
So that's the actual when you were doing it that day. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I didn't know you had that, Robin. That's awesome.
Right here on Poetry
Just looking up this now.
and Practice.
I can feel the moment. So, oh God, yeah. As a songwriter, there are those moments where you just know, yeah, Spirit's present. I mean, we can write other songs and they're great and they're nice and blah, blah, blah. But there are times when, there's just a presence in the room. Mm. And we felt that presence. I feel it right now, even just listening to it.
Yeah, me too.
So
thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Take a breath.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So you both described this as really an organic process. And I don't think that surprises us. And how when any of us, we are experienced, like you can take an idea and you can craft a song and it will work, and you can tweak it and you love it. And there's still an extra experience you have when you're writing something like that. Mm-hmm. Right. So I can think of a lot of songs that we sing in New Thought that are community songs more than solo songs that really they're very repetitive. And sometimes they really are designed to be chants. And sometimes they just, because the chorus repeats, right? It's affirming the same thing, but we're singing it. And we don't realize we're actually doing a spiritual practice, right? And sometimes I've been like, that was tricky. Like they sneaked that spiritual principle in on me, right? Is that intentional? I mean, or does it even feel that way to you? Is it just a good song?
Well, for me, it's not intentional. You're talking about when we were writing it? Yeah, it's not intentional. It's what's up for me that day. And I'm a human being like everybody else. And I have these trials and tribulations, and we all share those common trials and tribulations. And we follow the same principles. And so I don't know. Yeah, it's just organic. It's not intentional. And for me, it's like, as I sit here, it's wonderful. It's wonderful, the philosophy that we're in, because of the chants, because of the songs, because sometimes when I'm in a pickle, I will have a chant come right to the forefront. And I'm like, how did that happen? I haven't done that chant in so long, but it comes right to the forefront. And even when I sat down and got on here with you guys, what's rolling through my mind, even though I think I have the lyrics wrong, is relax your mind. Relax your senses, or something like that. I sang that song in my car, I would say for 3 months, every single day. I put that song on repeat. So that's how profound it is when we tap into what we tap into. So thank you, Gary, for that song. Thank you for that song.
I like that.
I'm often reminded by my friends when I call and say, I don't know what's going on, da da da. Well, I heard that this New Thought singer sing this song called Anything is Possible. Who was that? And I'll go,
yeah. Yeah, we sometimes get a little dose of our own medicine when we write stuff, because then you bring it into the world and make it either a chant or, I've been doing a thing called Song Circle here in Reno once the third Wednesday of every month. And you talk about chanting and about, those things, those are affirmations that are put to music. And I can't remember who said it, and I'm probably not getting it just right, but they said that a prayer sung is a prayer prayed twice prayed. When you add music to the affirmation, it has more of an opportunity to kind of sink into your being. And then, I've been writing I went to Ananda Village recently, and someone gave me, I have this on my piano, they're flashcards from the yoga practice there with all these affirmations. And I've been putting some of them to music, and we've been singing them in the Song Circle, because I think that the repetition of the affirmation put to music is really powerful. And so it can be unintentional a lot of times. Like Robin and I wrote One Big Family, and we weren't intending for it to be a community song that people would be dancing to. We kind of had, wouldn't it be great if people were singing and dancing and singing this song? And another one that's kind of gotten out into the world. And so that was not intentional. But then some of these that I go, oh, wow, this affirmation put to music could be a really powerful way to help people get through just a simple moment in life where they just need something to sing and remember, to pull them out of whatever it might be that's trying to get them.
Right.
I know for me, as a practitioner and a spiritual coach, people will come to me for different things. And you're right. It's like, oh, either they're bringing forward what they don't know I'm struggling with too. Right. And I hear myself advising them or giving them an affirmation, and inside going, yeah, Tracy, you need that affirmation too. Oh yeah, Tracy, that's what you've been in denial about for the last 6 months. And they're here to have me face it. So it makes sense that sometimes either people would bring your songs back to you, or give you inspiration to like, oh yeah, I've had to deal with that. And then hear it musically.
Yeah.
Robin, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, Robin and I wrote a song called "You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet," and it comes back to me because if you think there's nothing new under the sun, if it's possible, it's already been done. Those old tapes that think, okay, well, this is just going to be how it always has been, and then to be, to have that come back to you, go, oh wow, I'm singing "You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet." Do I really believe that still? That there are so many things that we're unaware of that are just continuing to line up, and it's a reminder. It's kind of a gift that you can give yourself to write the song, and then also hopefully other people will kind of grab onto it too.
I forgot about that song. But I also remember what is the one? Come on, everybody, take a look around you. Yeah, that wasn't some big grand hit, but I remember those words.
Yeah,
and it's it has an important message as well too. I think about because I'm dramatic. I'm very dramatic. I was at a point in my life where it's like, I haven't written a song forever. My life is dried up. I'll never write another song. There's nothing in here. So I also wasn't picking up my guitar or going to the piano and showing up for anything to appear. And I just would, lament and lament and lament. And then one night I decided, well, okay, why don't you go to the guitar? I had a little glass of wine and I said out loud, literally, I said, Spirit, if there's a message that you want me to bring to the world, tell me what it is. And that's when I wrote Love Is What We're Here For. So, that's another way that things, I don't do that often, but I was desperate for a song to come out of me because I felt like it was dried up. So to just say, okay, Spirit, what does the world need to hear? Well, love is what we're here for. So.
And that definitely has touched so many people, right? The lyrics of that song. So there are two questions I want to ask. Which one should I ask first? So what's your spiritual practice like?
Well, mine is I meditate every morning, and then I read out of either 365 Days of Richer Living or 365 Days of the Science of Mind. And that's how I start my day, and then I journal. And for me, my spiritual practice, because I'm creating a lot, I'm writing screenplays, I'm writing a play, I'm writing I don't know how many books I'm writing, but sometimes when I get stuck in my own creativity, I do my spiritual practice, and if I don't know what a character is going to do next, sometimes the answer comes in my meditation and in my quiet time and in my journaling, or I'm looking for the line of a song, it'll come forth, or a song will start out of my meditation or my journaling or what have you. So that's my spiritual practice every day.
Mine is similar. I read something inspirational every morning and try to spend a little time, quiet time. Danny likes to hear me read, so I'll read something to him, which is great because then I get that as well. And part of my spiritual practice is spending a little time with my dogs in the morning because they teach me so much. And I use the time at the keyboard as a spiritual practice too, regardless of what I may be working on, or just to kind of show up and allow that music to kind of settle me in. I also, I practice yoga. I'm better at the practice sometimes rather than others, but yoga for me is a great meditation because I can involve my body in it as well, and it's easier for me to kind of try to connect my physical body with my spiritual and energetic body, and that helps me to bring all that together.
I do, and I do want to add to this, and I don't know what it's like for you, Gary, but I think that my creativity is my spiritual journey.
Me too.
Yeah. And being in the science of mind, and starting out at CSL Dallas, and then we branch off to different places, man, do we bump into our own stuff a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to blame it on everyone else. Well, she's this and this person's this and blah blah blah. Boy, did I grow up from all of this. I'm really grateful for our philosophy, and I'm grateful for every Buddha that I ran into, that helped me through something, and I didn't even know it. So songs come from there, prayer comes from there, creativity comes from there. I just love this philosophy. I'm so grateful for it.
I do too, and I love the combination between the philosophy and then so grateful for the gift of music, because that's my touchstone too. I mean, I work out a lot of my life and a lot of my spirituality and a lot of my connection with spirit and other people through writing it out with music, and I'm really grateful that I have that outlet to just kind of work everything out.
Yeah.
So Robin, you were responding to the question and being thoughtful about, well, what is my spiritual practice? And I don't know if you saw the comment from the chat that I pulled over to the screen right after you.
Danny Miller. Oh, I love it. I didn't see that.
Hi, Danny.
It is. We sing that all the time. Oh, nice, Danny.
Yeah, that's sweet. Very sweet.
Yeah. So, who inspires you spiritually, musically? Who inspires you? Because you all, the two of you, inspire you and your music inspires so many people. Who inspires you?
So many people have inspired me. Currently, Neville Goddard for me has been just a new lifeline of using your imagination to get in touch with the feeling of how things are when it all works out. Using the imagination to create life how we want to experience it. And it doesn't mean that it changes anything on the outside, but it means showing up differently and from another place where where my interpretation and what I think about things shifts, because I realize that I have not only the responsibility but the power to reframe things if I need to. So just from a spiritual guru kind of place right now, Neville Goddard is someone that I feel really connected to. And musically, probably, it's a little of a joke sometimes with people that know me well, but Amy Grant is like I love her music and how she just connects where she writes from. She's always just been a real big inspiration for me in just being real with showing up musically as a human being, and just sharing that that grace with people.
I admit the first time I saw on Facebook that LYNN FLOYD was so super excited because he had tickets to an Amy Grant concert. I was like, huh? And, right. After I thought about it and remembered all that I know about, your history, it was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. But my first reaction was, like your dogs when they go.
Yes, I get it. It's just my path. It's, I was a Southern Baptist kid that was beginning to understand that I was gay and how that didn't line up with where I came from. And her music really helped me through that time as a teenager and early 20s, where I just, as interesting as it seems, she was a person that was kind of outside the box and a rebel and doing things that, weren't happening in my world. And so in that way, she really inspired me too, which is, kind of funny because she's so conservative and, just kind of, not what most people would think as pushing the envelope, but she was for me.
She did, right? Yeah. She did. So cool. What about you, Robin? Who inspires you spiritually and musically?
Well, musically, I'll go back to when I first started playing music. I'm going to have to give homage to Richie Havens, which a lot of people don't know who Richie Havens is. But he played acoustic guitar. He was at Woodstock. And I loved his guitar playing, and that's what inspired me to even pick up the guitar and play guitar. So that's for starters. Then after that, Joni Mitchell, because I love her poetry and her way with words, and I love her melodies, and just, yeah. And then in terms of spiritually, oh my gosh, oh man, every day I'm listening to somebody. So it could be Eckhart Tolle, it could be Abraham Hicks, it could be Michael Bernard Beckwith, it could be Tracy Brown, it can be Reverend Sunshine Day. But I make sure every day that I'm listening to somebody and getting inspired, because finally in my life, because I've made what I consider such a drastic change and a big risk by moving to New York. I realized you're going to have to fully embrace this. Either you walk this talk or you don't. And so for me, it was just, I have to every day wake up and listen to some inspiration by somebody in our philosophy, and really take in what this philosophy is telling us and teaching us. And so I'm more on that side of like saying yes to it. Oh, yeah, I get it. The power's here, through me, as me, around me, above me, behind me, everywhere. I'm grabbing that power. And yeah, I want to spread joy and love, and not like, oh, guess what happened to me today? Oh my gosh, not misery. I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but.
Well, I think it is interesting to hear, like, what you do spiritually and who and what inspires you, because for many of us, if and I think this, Gary, for about 3 years, I had one of your songs as my ringtone, so that every time my phone would ring, even though like I don't get very many calls anymore post-pandemic, but then about 4 or 5 years ago, it was like I would get a reminder, right? I was using your voice and your music as what would inspire me to stay in alignment with what I say I believe. right? And it's, we come to you and people like you who are creating music for the inspiration. And so, it's just curious. Like, you don't come to us and like stand up in a Unity Church or a CSL Center on a Sunday morning and say, oh, by the way, before I sing, you all should inspire me. Like, but we turn to you all the time. So like, yeah, what keeps you inspired, I think, is really valuable. So our time is running pretty short. And so I just want to close with anything that you want to share again about this idea as songs as spiritual poetry. Songs as spiritual poetry. What does that make you think about? Do you agree or not agree? Any advice? Whatever comes to mind. Key word, key phrase, songs as spiritual poetry. Go to Robin first and then to Gary, and then we'll close out.
I think key word I can only say yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, it has saved me so much. Whether it was, like you just said, Gary, having Gary as a ringtone. I saw Michael Gott here. I got a chance to visit with him, and I walked away singing, "Love can move the world." So it just, for me, it has taken over my life because I've been in this philosophy now for 20 years, and I release and I let go. I mean, all of it, it's just there all the time. So I say yes, yes, yes.
Yes, I just will expand on that and say yes again, because for me too, music has changed my life. Mm-hmm. Being able to create it, and then also the power of music to inspire me and to help me through difficult times, and to just to know that a portion of that gets spread out, and being able to create those moments for other people that are created for me with music is just beautiful. And I think that all music is a spiritual experience. Yeah, I don't know what it would be like without it.
Right.
Well, I don't know what my life would be like without the music that the two of you have created. I really want to thank you for saying yes and coming on and just having this conversation, and wish you nothing but the best. For everybody watching, you can see in their names, as well as we'll put it in the notes for the show. Please check out their music at GaryLynnFLOYD.com and RobinHackettMusic.com, or just go to YouTube and put in either or both of their names, and you can listen to inspiring music for the next week, right? Until we come together again for Poetry, Prayer, and Practice. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you for having us. Thank
you.
I
love you both. Thank you so much.
So everybody who's watching, I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you did feel like you were just eavesdropping on a private conversation, because that's what happened. I have been inspired by these two amazing people. And I hope if you are just being introduced to them today, that you are inspired to go learn more about them. Next week on Poetry, Prayer, Practice, we are going to focus a little bit in on prayer, how to use prayer and how to pump some power into your prayers. So I hope that you will join me then every Tuesday, noon Mountain Time, right here on the New Thought Media Network.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week, or watch on demand at www.ntmedia.org or youtube.com/New Thought Media Network. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring. Learn more at www.ntmedia.org.